So today I wanted to do a video to show people, because there's a few things here that people need to know about the Scl1000 Kubota. Okay, so I bought this Kubota and I have kept it inside, and it hasn't been outside since I got it. And when the guy at the dealer got it, he had it for 2 days, and I had it shipped here and put it inside. So it was no rust at all, but now it's been sitting outside for 3 days. I use it for the first time to make this tiller here. It was an excavator tiller I got. I welded that dingo plate onto it and it worked perfectly. So let's get down to business. I was using it for 3 hours. It has 3 hours on the hour meter, and then it died. So out of a little bit of diagnosis, my friend thought the fuel pump right here was bad. So I said, well, the fuel goes on the fuel pump. You can see the arrow. The arrow on it says it goes one way or the other. There's an arrow, and I pulled the line off. I think I pulled it off over here where it goes from there, and it was coming out when the key was on, so it wasn't the fuel pump. I looked at the fuel bowl, and the fuel bowl is clean of fuel and it's full and it looks like it's pumping, and I said, well, I doubt the fuel filter is bad at 3 hours. So I checked the air filter, and you take this off here and you look it in there, and I figured, well, maybe there was something in it. Nope. So then I looked a little bit deeper, and I'm like, well, I think that the fuel shutoff's bad, because it's getting fuel and it should run. There's nothing much to this motor. It's a real good motor. So if you reach down in there on the back of the injection pump, there is a solenoid, a fuel solenoid, and the fuel solenoid is a real pain in the butt to get to. But if you use two 5 size metric Allen wrenches, which is a small size, about that big, the fuel shut off was bad. It was defective, and apparently they're defective. So I called Kubota, and I wanted to use my warranty, and Kubota told me, they said, oh, well, we can get out there in 10 days on the 10th. And when we come out there, we'll look at it. And I said, oh, this is nice. Yeah, there we go. So what do we got here? We got 3.6 hours now. It's a full tank of fuel. And I said to the Kubota guy, well, it needs a fuel shut off. And he said, all right, well, we'll send the guy out in 10 days. And I said, okay. So I did some research online, went on Masix, and I found the solenoid diagram, and I got the part number, and I called a bunch of dealers, and nobody could get me one. And I called the dealer the next day, and I said, hey, so when that guy comes out, make sure he brings this part. This is what I need. And he says, well, let me see if we can get it. And he said, oh yeah, that part's on back order. It could take anywhere from 2 weeks to a year to get one. And I said, well, they're on eBay. I said, they're on Google. There's other Kubota dealers selling them. So why don't you just get one for me? They fit a bunch of machines. And he said, well, that's not how it works. We have to get one, if you want it under warranty, from Japan, I guess. But I mean, mine clearly says made in China right on it. So I said, well, I'm not waiting 8 weeks. So I pulled the sensor out, and I looked at it, and I tested it, and it's just like a 12 valve. It has a little fuel shut off solenoid. And well, I said, well, it goes about 1/2 inch, snippety, polished it off and put it back in. Runs great. It has a kill cable spot on top of these motors designed to hook a kill cable up. Put a little rope on it, now you can kill it off. But leaving this thing outside for months after I kept it inside, and I paid $50,000 for a machine, well, $44,000, pay $44,000 for a machine to leave it out in the weather. Then they say, oh, well, the paint faded because you left it out in the weather. Well, I'm telling you, I'm not happy with Kubota right now, and I have a feeling they're not going to reimburse me for this or give me the part that I need, because I modified the other part to make it work. But let me tell you, for $150, the damage that it would do from sitting in the job site for God knows how long is miserable. So if you have this experience, I'm sorry for the long-winded conversation, all you have to do is take the air box loose, pull the air box out. There's 2 wires on the back you got to be careful not to mess up. Take it off the intake manifold, take the 2 screws out of the top of the wiring harness for the fuel shut off. You want to use a L angle short, ideally a short. If not, you might have to cut your long one down. I had the long one, was a pain in the balls. Cut the 5 down. You're going to go in there, crack it loose, use your fingers, turn the nuts loose, pull it straight out. Be careful of the O-ring. Push the O-ring back into the groove. You might have to put grease on it to get it to go back in there. Chop the bitch off and then push it back in. Good to go. And on top of the injection pump, there's a kill lever. Just use that lever to shut it off when you're done. Bada bing, bada boom. Now you don't have to leave it in the hood and get it stolen and have to try to do a K-Pack claim because they said leave it outside. I'm not happy about this. I'm also not happy that I have to charge the battery because the battery dies after this little bit of experimenting trying to get it to start. So I'm probably have to put an AGM in it, which I don't understand why they put a cheap battery in a $45,000 machine. Well, good luck, guys.